You hear about people having these encounters with what they call cryptids. You hear about stories with this dogman or Bigfoot or rakes or sirens or mermaids or satyrs. Apocalypse. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to talk about a word that's trending, a word that's actually been trending for decades, and a word that is often misinterpreted, and it's come to mean something that it doesn't actually mean. And that word is apocalypse. Now, when you hear the word apocalypse, what do you typically think about? Guarantee right now in your mind, you're thinking of the end of days, the end of time, some cataclysmic disaster that befalls the earth where everything implodes and destruction and death. Or maybe you're thinking of zombies, some kind of zombie apocalypse, or some kind of crazy disease, virus that spreads across the world. But the reality is, the word apocalypse doesn't actually mean that. It's come to mean that. That's the cultural definition of what it means. But the word apocalypse, do you know what it actually means? It actually means a revealing or an unveiling of things that were hidden and no longer are. So something that was undiscovered, that was hidden, but is now been revealed. That's what the word apocalypse actually means. So, why am I making a video about this? What is the point of trying to say? Well, here's the thing. I think that we are getting closer to the end of days, end of time. And I think that we're actually in an apocalyptic season of time. And in particular, when it comes to the reality of the supernatural world interacting with the natural world. Now, again, I'm not saying that some massive cataclysmic event's going to come soon, that there's a massive meteor that's in space, it's making its way. I mean, I've heard tons of conspiracy theories about that. There's a meteor that's en route that the government knows about, that is on its way and is supposed to hit in a certain specific date and time. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that there's going to be some massive worldwide sickness or anything of that nature. But I am saying that there is an apocalypse happening. There is a revealing. There is hidden things that for, I think, centuries and centuries, millennium, have been hidden, are now being revealed in terms of, again, the supernatural realm interacting with the natural realm that we live in. I think it's important, especially as Christians, to understand that, because I think the typical understanding of the supernatural realm, the spirit realm, whatever you want to call that, is often grossly misinterpreted. It's viewed on a very surfacey level where it's just like you have Jesus, you have the devil, you have angels, and you have demons, and that's it. Very clean cut, and that's kind of what's in most people's mind. But the reality is, the spirit realm, the supernatural world, is far more complicated than we realize. I mean, there's an entire hierarchy of beings, of entities that make up the unseen realm. It's not just angels and demons. That's such a very surfacey understanding. I mean, when you look at the Bible, there are countless numbers of entities and creatures and different beings that we find in the text. And so when you look around the world and you start seeing things like aliens and the whole UFO thing, you hear about people having these encounters with what they call cryptids. You hear about stories with this dog man or Bigfoot or rakes or sirens or mermaids or these satyrs. What's the other ones? Satyrs and I forget, but the bullhead dudes and the horse, half human, like all of these mythological creatures that you just think are fairy tale. People are actually seeing them right now. And then you hear about things like portals, wormholes, you know, and it's like it seems very sci-fi, it seems very unbelievable, it seems very fantastical. And the knee-jerk reaction is to just it's just conspiracy. It's not real. There's an unveiling happening. And I think you go back thousands of years, and if you're a Christian and you're watching this, in the biblical worldview between Genesis 1 and Genesis 11, that whole world, the pre-flood world, was a world that no Hollywood movie could create that would encompass the craziness of that world, a world of giants and creatures. And I mean, to me, the most fascinating part of the Bible to study is that. And I'm going to create more content in the future, diving into these different things, especially on my podcast. Quick little podcast plug. Go to Apple Podcast, Spotify, all the major podcast platforms, and you can listen to the Tattooed Preacher podcast. But I'm going to get into more of that stuff in a deeper way on the podcast. But there's a great revealing happening. And these concepts and these ideas, for most people just scoff at it. But there's an awakening happening. There is a revealing happening. And it's apocalyptic. Now, it may not be apocalyptic the way we're have been traditionally, taught to think of apocalyptic. And again, I'm not saying that there's not going to be some cataclysmic event happening in the future or not, or, any of that stuff. But I am saying that that's not what that word means. And so the word means the revealing of hidden things. And there's a revealing happening right now. And when you look at the book of Revelation, it is apocalyptic literature. You see the supernatural realm, the unseen realm, invading the natural realm. I mean, you see crazy stuff in that book. And so that's all I'm saying. And when you see that, and then you see what is happening right now in our world, and some of the stories and some of the experiences that are happening, it's apocalyptic. And so as Christians, man, I'm just saying, like, be prepared to be uncomfortable. Be prepared to have your paradigm shifted. And this isn't a time to be afraid or to, cower in fear at all. Jesus is still Jesus. He's still the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. He still rules and reigns, and everything, as Colossians says, in the unseen realm is submitted to him. He is over all. So this isn't about fear, but it's about having our worldview and how we've been traditionally trained to think, and the way we've been taught is not exactly how things are. And so the apocalypse is now. It's now. So that's my rant on the apocalypse. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the description below. Start a conversation, start a dialogue. And yeah, we'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Much love and God bless.